Hello everybody, and welcome to Henry's Kitchen, where today we're going to be making pizza. We're going to be making Henry's Anytime homemade pizza. Pizza is a dish of Italian origin that consists of usually round, flat base of wheat-based dough topped with tomatoes, cheese, and often various other ingredients such as anchovies, which is then baked at a high temperature, traditionally in a wood-fired oven. A small pizza is sometimes called a pizzetta, and a person who makes pizza is known as a pizzaiolo. So I'm glad they brought up the thing about getting the oven. I don't have a brick oven, I just have a regular oven, but I'm going to go ahead and start baking. We want to set the temperature pretty hot for this. I'm going to go for 450 degrees. So there's a lot of information that's known about pizza. It's been around since about 6 BC. In 2017, the world pizza market was $128 billion. And overall, 13% of the United States population aged 2 years and overconsumed pizza on any given day. I don't know what that means. This is from Wikipedia. But just want to check in here. Is everybody, you can hear me okay? If you're just joining us now, we're going to be making Henry's Anytime Pizza. Okay, yeah, and I've got some new emojis for you there. Sorry, there really is a lot of stuff here. Let's talk a little bit about the argument that's very common about whether or not the pizza in New York City is better than the pizza in all the other parts of the world. If you go on the internet and try to tell somebody that your pizza is better than what they make in New York, you're gonna get some fights happening. So the pizza in New York, the reason that they feel it's superior is because the water that they use contains a lot of chemicals that come from the piping. A lot of the piping of the water in New York happens underground, and the pipes are contaminated with certain chemicals like bromine, chlorine, tetramine, and a whole bunch of others. And even though I guess these are chemicals that are detrimental to the human body, they actually, for whatever reason, make the water better for making pizza. So they definitely have better pizza, but they have chemicals that are harmful. The pizza that they make in New York is generally a round bread-based base topped with tomato and cheese and some kind of protein. Not to be confused with the pizza that they have in California, which is called the California pizza, which is generally a round, flat bread base topped with tomatoes and cheese and some kind of protein. Similar to the pizza that they have in Chicago and probably, I would imagine, in Italy. As a matter of fact, it talks a little bit about the modern pizza, which was evolved from the dish that they had in Naples, Italy, in the early 18th or 19th century. But there was some interesting information that I saw recently. In the 6th century BC, the Persian soldiers of Arachnid Empire during the rule of Darius, the great baked flatbreads with cheese and dates on top of their battle shields in the ancient Greeks supplemented their bread with oils, herbs, and cheese. So there you go. So that's the beginning of pizza. But one thing that's a lot more fun than reading about pizza is making pizza. and ultimately eating it. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, sorry, yeah, that's my cat, roast beef. I'm just checking in on the roast beef cam. Oh no, I gotta turn on the camera here. Here, I'll check in on the roast beef cam while we turn on the camera. Sorry about some of the technical stuff going on here. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, the ingredients that we're going to be using for our pizza, I've got some store-bought dough here that, you know, you can make your own dough. It's just yeast and flour and water, but you have to let it sit there for like 8 hours, and I didn't do that the day before. So I just went to the store and bought some store-bought pizza crust. So I'm saving myself a step here. Also, we don't have 8 hours to do this. But we've got here a tomato that we're going to be cutting up and putting on top of our crust. We also have some feta cheese, which is a more low-fat kind of cheese. So this is going to be a little bit more of a Greek-type pizza. The great thing about pizza is that it's very flexible. This is a green pepper. I have a question about whether or not if you don't have dough, yeah, I would say that you could probably replace your base with just about anything that is bread in nature. You know, a piece of bread would be fine, and when you put it in the oven, it's going to basically just turn into toast, so you'll have a toasted bread pizza, which is probably just fine. The bread that you get in the stores is going to be a little smaller, so you're going to have more of what you would call an individual pizza. And the shape is very important. You want it to be round. One thing that I've done before, and you could probably see this in my Big Mac video, is if you take a peanut butter cap, a cap for a peanut butter jar, and put it on your bread, take a Sharpie and draw around it, cut it into a circle, then you're going to have a circular piece of bread. Be careful to cut within the ink though, because you don't want to get the Sharpie marker ink in your body, because that will kill you. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Oh yeah, so we've got our mushrooms as well. I like to keep on the side a little bit of flour in case I need more, and I also have here a bowl of some water. And that's something that I'm going to be dipping my hands into, because every now and then you need to throttle the amount of water and flour in your crust to get it just right. So let's remove these items. And I also have a pizza tray along with a knife for cutting. And I also have this thing, which is the most expensive thing I have in my kitchen. It's a marble pizza roller, and we're going to give this sucker a try today. It's very heavy. It's also good to have in case you're worried about intruders showing up, which living in the city I definitely have needed to do. Okay, so I've got some tin foil laid out here, and that looks a little dark. I'm hoping that adjusts a little bit here. Let's go ahead and start by taking out our dough. Oh, I want to put a little bit of olive oil down on our surface, because otherwise you're going to have a real sticky situation. So just pour down some olive oil on your surface. Even that person who asked if they could use bread, you're still going to want to do this, because even a full piece of bread can stick to your surface. There's some crunchy stuff on here. I'm not sure what that is, but you generally don't want that. Somebody asked if this is a special pizza or a regular pizza. I would definitely say this is a special pizza because it's homemade, and so that's always going to have a unique quality to it. And also, we're using feta cheese, which is not the traditional cheese that's used, but it is used in a lot of Greek foods. So we're going to do a little bit more of what you would call a Greek pizza. I'm going to just wash some of that olive oil off my hands. And also, you want to have a towel ready. This is going to get messy, folks. So here we go. I'm going to start by taking our dough out. I'm going to try to zoom out a little bit so that you can see more of what's going on here. Start by taking our dough out of the bag. This, I can already tell this dough is a little on the stickier side, but not bad. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called working the dough. So if you don't work the dough, you're going to have a pizza that's got all kinds of bubbles coming out of it. So we're going to start working this. By working it, I pretty much just mean, you know, doing this. So what's going on? I hope everybody's having a good day. I know that this isn't exactly a brunch dish, but it's certainly something that you could eat for brunch, but it's probably more appropriate to have later in the day because it's very filling. I also wanted to make a quick comment about the pizza cutter. Oh, thanks. Somebody said I hope I'm having a good day. I really am, and most of it is because this ability to show people my cooking instruction is very fulfilling to me. I've been cooking for a long time now, several years, and if you have knowledge, you just want to share it with other people. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. Somebody asked if this is good for a dinner party. Yeah, you can cut the pizza. Now, this is what I wanted to touch on. There was an invention in the 70s called the pizza cutter, which is a blade that rolls across, and it gets you a really even pizza cutting. I don't have one of those. At the end of this, I'm going to be cutting it with the regular knife. But this is fine because I'm going to be eating this pizza by myself with my cat. And so that's not going to be an issue. But I want to say that prior to the pizza cutting, before pizza makers or pizzatolos were able to make pizza in even slices, there were a lot of fights that would happen. And, you know, because you would have uneven slices, so somebody would get a small one, then someone would get a large one. And if you were in New York in the 19th century, I don't know if anybody saw the movie Gangs of New York. I didn't see that movie, but I understand it was mostly fighting about people getting different size slices of pizza because resources were very low during that time. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our pizza roller. Somebody asked if I like thin crust or thick crust. I would probably go with the thin. I guess it's just a little bit more traditional, and it's just a little bit more what I'm used to. The thick crust, I guess, would be normally associated with Chicago. Yeah, so this pizza hasn't quite been worked hard enough, so we're going to have to go ahead and lift it. All right, so this is turning a little bit messy. I am going to show you a little trick here. The oven's preheated, so we're doing good there. A lot of times you'll see when you go to these pizza places, if you look behind the counter into the kitchen, you'll see people doing this. And this is just another way to work it. That first attempt was a failed attempt at spreading out our pizza. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of working it a little bit. You want to be careful. The most important thing here is that you want to get rid of the bubbles. And you want to get it to be perfectly round. And the way to do that is by letting gravity work in your favor. See, now that's already starting to, if I did this permanently, this would eventually be a perfect circle. As a matter of fact, that's how planets are made. But this is coming off a little bit difficult. Sometimes you kind of have to start all over again. I'm going to be doing some music for you a little later. Told people are that a lot of pets are watching, and I like that. Hopefully they're responding to some of the movement here, and hopefully not salivating over what will eventually be a delicious pizza. Okay, I think it's time to go ahead and lay this back down onto our tin foil here, which has gotten just a little bit wrinkly, but this is starting to look like a nice round piece of pizza, and we're just about ready to lay it down onto our pizza pan, which is this. You can see it's got holes in it because that's going to be important so that the heat can get underneath and make it nice and crispy for us. I'm just going to lay some olive oil down on this thing. Get it all nice and I guess there's some olive oil underneath now, but you can't really have too much olive oil. This is what's going to keep you from getting things too sticky. I'm also going to lay down a little bit of flour over the top. And now we are ready to put our pizza dough down. For people wondering why I put flour down there, this is just another foolproof way of keeping your pizza from sticking to the surface of whatever you're cooking it on. So we still have more time to do this this method of trying to flatten the pizza. As you can see, this goes all the way out to the end, and I know it doesn't seem like there's enough there, but my goal is eventually I want to get this pizza all the way to the end. And it's definitely challenging. Anybody who's been watching me cook will know that the cooking is one of the most difficult things that you'll ever have to do in your life. It's more difficult even than learning how to drive a car or getting in a car accident and dealing with the insurance companies and getting audited by the IRS, or really just about anything you can imagine. I had a real lousy thing happen to me where I got a phone call from someone asking what my social security number was, and they said they were with my bank, even though they didn't say the name of the bank, so it was a little suspicious. But I gave them my social security number, and they said, while I have you on the line, do you mind giving your bank account number? And so I gave them that as well. And they asked for all kinds of other info about, you know, but I assumed it was the bank the whole time. But then after that, I called the bank and they said they had no idea what I'm talking about. And let's just say it made me feel a little bit vulnerable knowing that somebody out there might have my information. But the good news is even stuff like that, day-to-day life stuff, is I've already done things way more difficult here in the kitchen. Somebody's saying spin it like a pro. Well, I am a pro, so, you know. Let's go ahead and, yeah, this is starting to really come together here. Right now, I would say that the most challenging thing that's happening to me is I'm not really getting it in that perfect circular shape. It could be that I'm a little nervous. I've done this before and it's worked out pretty well, so yeah, I think at this point we're just gonna keep working that dough. It's nice and flat, which is good. I'm not sure how close to the edge we're gonna get it, unfortunately, but let's see if I can at least cover up the holes. You can also spin it around like this a little bit. It's all about the center of gravity. Somebody had a question about wine pairings. There's a very easy rule of thumb when it comes to wine pairings. If you're dealing with red meat, goes with red wine. White meat goes with white wine. If you have white meat chicken, that's going to be white wine. And if it's dark meat, you're going to go with the red wine. And the same goes with bread. So this is sort of a white colored bread, so I'm probably going to use a white wine. Now, of course, I'll probably put other ingredients on there that have different colors. Pizza, it gets a little tricky. You might want to actually do a combo. 1 glass of white wine, 1 glass of red wine, and try to have the, try to have the proportions of colors match whatever it is that you're making. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get these all the way over all the holes, but I think for the purposes of what we're doing here, I think this is looking pretty good. So now it's time to start laying down our ingredients. For anybody who just joined us, we have Henry's Anytime homemade pizza. I have a homemade pizza crust, but you're certainly free to either use bread of any kind that you have lying around, or you could make your own crust by just adding some flour and some water and letting it sit for 8 hours in the heat. But I think it's time to start laying down some of our ingredients. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brush this with a little bit more olive oil. And the reason you do that is because you want there to be some olive oil on there. Somebody commented that it looks like a heart pizza. That's true. As a matter of fact, that's not a bad idea. I guess if we came down here a little bit. Valentine's Day is coming up next year, so maybe that could be sort of the theme of what we're doing here. Next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to put this crust aside for a second, and let's start working on slicing up some of our veggies. I'm going to grab a standard cutting board here. We're going to go in a little closer and start with our tomato. Probably want to peel the sticker off here. And this is basically just standard dicing technique. You want to cut across from the most centered part that you can. Some people ask me why I don't like to use sharp objects in the kitchen. I've hurt myself. Anybody who saw me try to make pico de gallo, there is literally no food in the world that is delicious enough to risk cutting yourself, except for maybe some types of cake. So this is coming out very nice here. Someone commented that when I cut tomatoes, it reminds them of something called ASMR or AMSR, which I'm not sure what internet technique that is, but I'm happy to know that they feel that way. Let's go in a little closer here. What I'm going to do after this is I'm going to cut these across the long way, and then they'll be ready to go on top of our pizza. Okay, so these are our tomatoes. We're going to set these aside and we're going to start working on our green pepper. Green pepper's a little bit easier to cut through. Not everybody likes green pepper on their pizza. But then again, some people like to put anchovies on there, which is a type of fish. And to me, that's kind of nasty. But there's no right or wrong way to make a pizza. The important thing is that it's your own creativity that needs to be involved. Many of the famous chefs that have pizzerias had no idea what they were doing. We'll go on to our mushrooms. Had a question about seeds. I'm not really a big connoisseur when it comes to seeds. I don't really taste them, so I usually just leave them in, and also it's a huge pain in the ass to try to get rid of all those seeds. There's got to be, dozens of seeds in the peppers, and who knows even how many in this in those tomatoes. You'd be looking at spending your entire week trying to prep these vegetables. So I just go ahead and leave them in, and actually it doesn't bother me. Question about pineapple on the pizza. Yeah, that's getting into a little bit of a controversial territory. That's sort of the West Coast approach. And if you go to a place in New York and tell them that you want to get a pizza and you want them to put pineapple on it, you're going to end up with something called a knuckle sandwich, which is unfortunately not a type of pizza. Okay, so now it's time to start laying down some of our ingredients here. Okay, so for anybody out there who's wondering what we've done, because I'm starting to realize that a lot of people kind of come in and out. What we're doing is we're making Henry's Anytime Pizza, homemade pizza for one. In this case, it's just going to be me eating it with my cat. And so far I've got my pizza crust, which is not really a perfect circle, but it is in the shape of a heart, which is a nice Valentine's Day theme for next year when we're going to have Valentine's Day. And then I also have a very delicious looking bunch of vegetables that I'm going to put on this. And the important thing is, if you're following along at home, if your pizza doesn't look as awesome as mine, or if it looks crappy because you haven't been doing it as long as I have, or if you're not very good at it, or just if you feel like a failure compared to looking at me do it so perfectly, Remember, I've been doing this for 7 years or more, and that's a fair amount of time. Okay, so also you definitely want to have a towel here that you're going to be using intermittently, especially me, because I've got some computer equipment here so that I can broadcast this to you guys, so I don't want to get that all filled with olive oil and such. Okay, now for the exciting part. Let's start putting down our ingredients. Sorry about that. Okay. We're going to start by putting down our tomatoes. So a lot of people will ask, well, what order do you put them down in? Honestly, I do them all at the same time. So let's lay down a couple of our tomatoes, not all of them, just a few. Oh, somebody asked about sauce. Well, in this case, this is more of a white pizza, which means that you don't put sauce on it. But I do have olive oil, so that should kind of satisfy the liquidy sauce type requirement. And now let's put some of our greens on there. These I can already tell are going to be delicious. And let's put on some mushrooms. Somebody asked about ketchup. I've certainly done that. I mean, look, the definition of a pizza, as I pointed out on from Wikipedia, which is as good a source as you're going to get, is that a pizza is a breaded base topped with tomato sauce. And even though I don't have tomato sauce, I've got tomatoes, which are kind of saucy, plus the olive oil. And protein topping of your choice, anywhere from anchovies to whatever, you know. And then, as we talked about, pineapples, however creative you want to do it. So if you want to do ketchup, yeah, technically that is a tomato sauce, and it would legally be a pizza. It would stand up in court if somebody said, hey, you didn't make a pizza, and you tried to prove that you did. You'd say, look, if you go to Wikipedia, it's got, you know, bread, tomato sauce, oh, and cheese too. I don't know if I mentioned cheese, which is what we're going to do right now. I've got some feta cheese. Feta coming from the Greek word feet, I think. You can let me know. Okay, so yeah, also I have some olives in the fridge that I'm going to be using. So I don't want to cover this completely because I still want to put more ingredients on the top. But I just want to give you guys a little bit of a test because I want to make sure that you're listening. I'm putting white feta cheese on top of this pizza, and I've got red tomatoes on top of it as well. So if I were to be serving this to a group of guests, I want to ask you, what wine pairing would I choose? Somebody said 50. The person that said 70% red. Well, you've got white on white, so that's going to give you, that would be 100% white, but the red is probably about 25%. So yeah, you'd probably have 70 to 75% white wine. So you'd fill up a glass about 3/4 full. Alexa, how many glasses of wine is 3/4?
According to an Alexa Answers contributor, it will depend on the size of the glass. Was that helpful?
No. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get some olives. This is the last thing that we're going to be putting on here. But we're going to add a couple more ingredients as well. And the olives, you don't have to put them in any particular order. But generally speaking, when you're topping a pizza, you want to make it so that so that if somebody's eating it, they're going to get an olive in each bite. They're going to get whatever ingredients you have there. They're going to get one of each on each bite, and otherwise you start getting into people arguing, which is something you don't want. I'm going to put the rest of our ingredients on top here, starting with our tomato. And by the way, your kitchen is going to smell delicious once this starts cooking up. And I'm going to try to avoid the cores and sprinkle over our mushrooms. I'm going to do a little bit more feta cheese to finish it off. And why don't we somebody asked about cottage cheese on pizza. I suppose I don't really think there's a huge difference between feta cheese and cottage cheese, other than obviously one is made in a cottage, but I don't think that should affect it. What I'm doing now is I'm making a little bit of a ring around the pizza. This is going to be sort of a, I guess, a rim, if you will. And that's an important part. This is just about to go in the oven. But there's one last thing that we're going to do. Well, we're going to put on some Italian seasoning, which I've got here. Someone asked about pickles. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm also going to throw on a little bit of oregano. Somebody asked about Kraft Singles slices. Okay, that gets a little tricky because I'm not sure if that's exactly cheese or not. But if it is accepted as a definition of cheese, then according to Wikipedia, you're still in the legal bounds. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to rim it. And by rimming, what I mean is that we're going to go around the entire crust and we're going to make sort of a rim. And what this is going to do, it's going to serve a couple of purposes. For one, it's going to make a nice sort of a flowery design element that, be impressive if you're plating it for people at a fancy restaurant or whatever. But the other thing is it's going to keep the ingredients in. So what I'm doing is I'm basically pinching it, and then I'm moving down the line until I have a wall all the way around the pizza. So yeah, I'm going to put this in the oven for probably about 20 minutes at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we're done, we're going to have awesome pizza. In the meantime, I can answer any questions, and I'm also, going to mess around with maybe playing some songs and maybe playing a little bit of the Henry's Kitchen game and checking the high scores and see if we have any new ones on there. But here we go. If you ask me, this looks pretty damn tasty, and I think it's time. So we're going to take our pizza here, which also has our holes underneath. And if you don't have a pizza pan as fancy as this, you can use just about any kind of pan, but you just have to make sure that the pan is big enough to hold whatever pizza concoction that you've created. So here, let's go ahead and put this in the oven for now. It looks like this this sauce situation has become a little bit controversial. I know that the people watching are from all kinds of different geographical and also age backgrounds, but in my time, it was always perfectly acceptable to make a pizza with no sauce if you were using olive oil and if you had some kind of tomato situation on there. I'm gonna just every time I put something in the oven, I like to just kill time a little bit by playing the Henry's Kitchen game, which I've got here. And if you're playing at home, it says this is using a significant amount of energy, which is certainly okay. See if I can get rid of that. Let's do this. So the Henry's Kitchen game was made by my friend Mark Cohen, just for fun. And we've got some great moderators that I'm going to give a shout out to in a little bit. But in the meantime, I hope that they might be able to tweet the link in case anybody wants to play it at home. But basically the idea is you're going to be grabbing bread, jelly, and peanut butter as ingredients to make a peanut butter jelly sandwich. They don't all come out at the same time. They come out at random. But once you've made jelly, bread, and peanut butter, you have made a sandwich. As you can see on the top there in the middle, it's going to tell you that I've made one sandwich. So strategically speaking, you pretty much in the beginning, it's kind of easy. So you're going to be wanting to grab pretty much every ingredient that comes down the pipe. But later on, it's going to start getting more risky. So you're going to try to prioritize ingredients. And the reason I like this game is it's a lot like life, you know. Sometimes the ingredients that you want fall out of the sky. And then sometimes you get too much of one and not enough of the other. So now we're doing pretty well. This is pretty even. I will say that there's a couple of people who have gotten some seriously high scores on this that we're going to see afterward. One person, Sheba, has got 98. Which is unfathomable to me, but I don't think there's any way that you can hack into this or anything, and it's not rigged, despite what a lot of people are saying in on the dark web. So yeah, getting a lot of onions, a lot of I don't know if I mentioned, for people who've never played,
peanut butter.
You do not want to get an onion or an insect or a rat in your sandwich. You get 3 chances to get bad stuff, and once you've hit 3, the game is over. You can see they start coming down pretty quick here. Now it's starting to get a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to look up at the top right and see that I've got an abundance of peanut butter. So I'm not going to really prioritize peanut butter as much, but what I really... what I really need is more jelly and bread.
Sandwich made.
All right, so I just had an explosion of jelly,
Peanut butter.
which I needed. Also, when I get to 30, it's going to give me a free life. So this is actually one of the better games that I've ever played. Maybe pizza is good luck.
Sandwich made. Sandwich made. Nice. Sandwich made.
I was doing a little bit of Googling about the game, and I noticed a lot of people said they thought it was rigged, so that when I played it, I was able to do better than anybody else. But that can't possibly be true, because I don't do as well as some of the people that have streamed themselves playing the game.
Jelly.
It's just one of those conspiracy theories that doesn't hold any water. And I find it a little bit offensive, to be honest with you.
Peanut butter made. Jelly. Sandwich made.
Okay, so now we're really getting... They're starting to come down pretty quick. So I'm going to look over there. I see that I've got pretty even proportion of bread, peanut butter, and jelly. Oh man, that was bad. Okay, I just got 2 bads, but fortunately I had made a free one. Okay, so this is getting pretty crazy. I need to hit the 60 mark to get my next free life. But I've got 2 left. Now I only have 1 left. Yeah. Okay. This is ridiculous. I need to get a streak of luck. And I'm not sure what form that's going to come in, but whoa, that was pretty good.
Sandwich made.
Sorry if I'm not talking. I'm kind of concentrating.
Sandwich made.
But hopefully everybody can see kind of the gist of what's happening here. I'm real close to getting my free life.
Sandwich made.
Really
Sandwich made.
Wow, look at all that jelly, peanut butter. It's like some kind of sandwich making heaven. I didn't get to 60. All right, so I'm going to put in my score, but it's not even going to show. Oh, okay. All the scores. This has happened before, and I'm not sure why. But maybe we're starting all over again in terms of the scores. Show all scores. Yeah, I just have a 58. Okay, so this is a problem. We're feeding some of the conspiracy theories here, thinking that it's rigged because somehow I had the high score. I will say, and I'll be completely honest with you, there were scores on there that were really high, and I think that there is a way to get them back, so we're going to work on that. But just, it was somebody named Too Much Cherry who had such incredibly high scores. Shebaz had the highest one at 98. And Bumblevision, special shout out, who was always in the 70s, and I had 77 on there. So anyway, we at Henry's Kitchen are gonna look into that. Check in on roast beef here. Seems to be doing okay. Maybe this would be a good time to do a little musical number if anybody's interested. Start thinking about a song that you might want to hear. It doesn't even have to be one of my songs. It could be a song by the artist Jose Suicidio, or it could be a song by anybody. Hold on a sec. Oh yeah, okay, so we have a couple here. Milli Vanilli, they had a song that was sort of a hit. Girl, you know it's true. I don't know the chords though, but it was something along those lines. We also had a request for All About Me, which is an up-tempo number. Yeah, let's see if I can do a little bit of that. Wow, a lot of requests coming in here. All About Me. Time after time, wait, no. Time after time, day after day, all I've got left is my will to survive. This time I'm gonna be all that I've ever wanted to be, 'cause it's all about me. That one I'm going to have to work on for next time. I haven't really done that one in a long time. Real quickly, I'm going to do first a song that I used to sing to the ladies in my dating days. These are the things in my car, all of the wonderful things in my car. A Cuban cigar, a broken guitar, some pee in a jar, the things in my car. They may not be luxury, but they are everything I need. So come with me and you can see the things in my car. Thinking about changing the lyrics to the kitchen now that I've changed my life a little bit. These are the things in my kitchen, all of the wonderful things in my kitchen. A cat that is itching, a pizza roller that's bitching, something that rhymes with itching, things in my kitchen. They may not mean much to thee, but they mean everything to me. So come and build a life with me and the things in my kitchen. There's that one. There were some other requests. Oh, somebody asked me to do. I'll see if I can remember. I'm really bad at remembering lyrics, but this is an up-tempo number. First she's got a boyfriend, the next day she's engaged. Then she says she's married. Girl, why are you playing these mind games? Head games, love games, brain games, brain twisters, mind teasers. She's playing with my mind. I saw her on the street just the other day. Funny how she told me she didn't want to be in a relationship. Mind games, love games, brain games, mind twisters, brain teasers, Sudoku, crossword puzzles. She's playing with my mind. Okay, so there's that song. She is the whore of Sausalito. This is a traditional. She knows just how to ease your mind. And if you ask her where she met you, she'll just smile and bat her eyes, because the whore of Sausalito never lies. That's an old traditional song from anonymous songwriter. It's probably got some language in there that's a little bit dated, but that happens when you hear some of these traditional songs. I think it's time to check in on our pizza a little bit. Hold on a second. Okay, somebody said it's been in for 12 minutes at this point. I did not set a timer, which was really a bad idea, but I'm going to get an oven mitt here, which I have found is extremely important. See how things are going here. Oh yeah, okay. Interesting. It's pretty darn close, you guys. I don't know if you were able to see anything from what I just did there, but I might not have worked the dough as much as I probably should have, because it's starting to look a little bit bubbly, which is one of the warnings that they had in Wikipedia. And, every time I screw up in the kitchen, I like to turn it into a good thing and say that if you're out there watching and your pizza's looking like shit or whatever, at least this way you know that a professional person still screws things up every now and then. So hopefully it'll make you feel better about yourself. And at the end of the day, we all want to feel better about ourselves. By the way, somebody said happy little accident, and those are true words right there. I'm guilty of snacking a little bit in between while I'm waiting for the pizza, so I apologize, but certainly something you can do. Some mushrooms. We've got about 2 more minutes. Any questions you have? Yeah, so we had a question about how much would a pizza like this cost? Well, it's going to be much more cost efficient to make your own pizza than it is to go out. I would say that crust cost me about $7.99. The mushrooms were organic, so that was probably about $6, and then that was an organic tomato, so I think it was about $3.50. I don't know if anybody's adding this stuff up. The feta cheese is a little expensive. That's going to run you about $12 for a full package. I only used half. Green pepper's very inexpensive, probably about $1. So this pizza that I'm making this morning, probably going to cost you a total of about $30 when it's all said and done. Whereas if you try to order a pizza from a fast food establishment like Domino's Pizza or one of these, actually they would probably be cheaper now that I think about it. It'd probably be more like $12, but they're going to have a delivery fee which will bring it up to $15. And so yeah, I think it is actually economically more efficient to just go ahead and order the pizza from an establishment. But then you'd be missing out on all the fun that we're having today with music and games and stories and what have you. If anybody has any questions, we have about one more minute before we're going to pull that pizza out and start cutting it up. Can the pizza be considered an open-faced sandwich? An open-faced sandwich is a sandwich which, you picture the traditional sandwich, it's going to have two pieces of bread that are encapsulating some type of filling. Open-faced means that they're laying out. So yeah, I mean, I guess if you have a sandwich that's a bread base and you top it with some type of sauce and a tomato product and some kind of dairy like cheese, you're going to have yourself a pizza. So I think what you've stumbled on is the fact that a lot of times the naming or the nomenclature of pizza is flawed. So that was a great question. Somebody asked about pizza being a calzone. I think a calzone, I'm not familiar with what that is, but I'm pretty sure it's basically a pizza wrapped up. And yeah, I'm sorry, some of these questions are getting a little bit beyond my expertise. I'm just a guy trying to make pizza, and I know that I've been doing this a long time, but some of these terms are coming at me a little quick. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and we had a question about, can you warm the pizza in the sun? If you live in a very, very hot place, they say Albuquerque, New Mexico, you can actually fry an egg on the concrete on the sidewalk, which is a terrible idea. I tried to do it and it did fry, but it was a pretty worthless egg. But I imagine if you can fry an egg, then you could certainly bake a pizza on that sidewalk as well. Probably better to use some kind of a pan for cleanliness. But yeah, that's certainly a great question, and I would imagine that's very possible. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. We had a question about the smell. I'm smelling a lot of bread. It's definitely got a very bready smell here. I was hoping to get a little bit more tomato and a little bit more of the oregano and stuff, but mostly it smells like bread, which is not a bad thing at all. So let's go ahead and see how we're doing here. Oh yeah. Wow. This came out a lot better than I even thought. It's very hot. I want to show you what this looks like. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is our pizza. It is very, very hot. We have a couple of challenges here. Someone said it looks cute, and that's very nice. The challenge here is it did not come out as circular as we were kind of hoping. Wow, it's very hot. You're going to definitely want to wait a little while before you do anything with this. But I'm going to put on an oven mitt for safety, and I'm going to start cutting this up into slices. And again, as I told you before, I do not have a pizza slicer, and I couldn't recommend it more to have one of those, because if you're serving pizza to multiple people and you have pizza slices that are uneven, especially if you're feeding kids, you're going to be causing fights. And you know, one kid gets one slice and then the one next to it was bigger. Okay, there is one little issue where it's kind of sticking to the bottom a little bit, but it's pretty well stuck to the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and get a plate. You know what? This is going to take a little too long to cut. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of improvise a slice. I didn't add enough oil to this. Even though it looked like we were doing a lot of it. I don't want this to fall. Okay, so this is problematic, and I'm actually, in a weird way, I'm glad it happened, because I want you to know that if you feel like you're putting on too much oil, put on more. You're not putting enough. I'm gonna just make sure. Remember, you want each slice to have a little bit of every ingredient. So I've got here an olive, and I've got some tomato, and also our green pepper, and we're gonna go ahead and give this a spin. Oh, I need to get a mushroom on there. It's a little hard to balance on top of the knife, but we can do that. Well, folks, here goes nothing. It's very hot. Well, I'd say this is pretty much an authentic New York style pizza, about as much as you could possibly get. There is a little bit of a lack of sauce on there. The bread is very prevalent in this case. In fact, I would probably say this is about 80% bread. And I think that was because I wasn't able to work it all the way to the edges. And also, the bottom kind of fell apart a little bit, and I think that was because I didn't use enough oil or flour or one of those. But the taste of it overall, it's a little doughy. It's a little bit like having bread with some vegetables on it, which is all right. So I think next time I'm probably going to go ahead and take the advice of somebody, one of the people who commented, who said that it really should have some kind of sauce on there. But you know what? Bread with veggies is not a bad way to go either. But the thing that I hope we all kind of learned today about pizza, and I'm just going to give you another look at it here, is the best pizza is the one that you have in front of you. The best pizza is the one that you made with your own bare hands. And nobody can take that pizza away from you. There might be assholes trying to say that their New York pizza's better because it's got weird chemicals in it that they get from the piping or whatever. But ignore it. You could be in Sun Valley, Idaho, and get that awful water that they get in their lakes and make a pizza out of that, and chances are it'll come out delicious because you put your heart and soul into it. I hope that's encouraging to anybody out there who is aspiring to be a cook. I want to say special thank yous to the moderators, Dingo Bob, Fawcan, Dom Beef, Hottest Bear, Do Dingle, Dagoggy, Dr. Flanges, and for other people who have volunteered to help, Daisy Blossom, Bacchus, Melon95, and Pilzkamin. Obviously want to say special shout out to Nim and Bumblevision, the LGX, my friend Bill Larkin, and again Forsen, who I've still never met, but apparently has been sending a lot of people over this way, so I appreciate that. And I want to thank you for joining me here as I enter into this journey of cooking. And there was somebody who had a pretty good comment, and I'm going to try to do this for next time. I'm going to try to figure out how I can tell you the ingredients of the dish that I'm going to make the next day, so that you can go out and buy them from your local store, and we can all do this together. Because I think I'd like to eventually see pictures of whatever it is that you're making. And I know there's a Discord, and so maybe that would be a place where you can share pictures. I'm not sure. I'm still new to a lot of this stuff. But in the meantime, as they say in Italy, hey, have some pizza. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'll see you on Wednesday at 11 a.m. and I'm going to have a brand new dish. And the next stream, will be Wednesday at 11 a.m. And I'm going to keep trying to challenge myself here. And I'm also always interested in knowing the recipes that you guys want me to do here. I have quite a few of them. I think Bacchus told me to make monkey bread, so I'm going to try to figure out what monkey bread is, and maybe we'll do that next time, although we did get a pretty good share of bread this time. But in the meantime, I'm sorry, I'm in Pacific time zone, so whatever that works out to be. But as always, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great week, and have a great dinner or breakfast, depending on where you are. And I'll see you on Wednesday.